Hi guys, Blake here with Lilleys Landing Resort and Marina on beautiful Upper Lake Taneycomo. It is Sunday the 26th of April and this is the one cast. Today I have boated up here. I am right below the cable. It's been a absolutely gorgeous spring day here in the Ozarks. We're sitting at 72 degrees, low humidity, very light breeze. They are running 4 generators, and I can actually see the bank line looks like it might be starting to drop, so they might be turning some of that down now. But that's what they've been running all day, I think all last night. I'm going to start off today throwing a all sculpin 1/8 ounce jig on 4-pound tests. I'm starting here in this on the south side in this little corner in this eddy, and we're going to see what happens. So I don't have too many fishing reports for today. Got a boat out right now. I just drove by them and asked them what they were using. They said that they been a pretty slow day for them, but they had just switched to some red San Juan worms, trying out their luck. There's a fish. Looks like a decent rainbow. But they told me that whatever they said they were using, do the opposite. So I started off with a jig. There's a decent rainbow. Alright, so officially fish on the one cast. Nice beautiful chunky rainbow there. Hi!
I've been using your rig and I've been catching tons.
Awesome! Somebody just said that they were using the little jerkbait drift rig, catching tons of fish. Last night after work, a friend of mine and I went out fishing, and we went out jerkbait fishing with that 110+1 model, and it was somewhat slow until the last hour of light. Once we got to the sun setting, we were started up here and we fished down to the Narrows, and we caught, right in that last hour, we probably caught 15 fish, and a lot of them were nice 18, 19-inch rainbows. I actually brought that same jerkbait along today. Once we get down here a ways, I think I'll throw it for a second just to see if they're biting it. But I can say that there's another one. I can say that this sculpin, all sculpin jig, your olive colors, tri-olives, have been really working well lately. That is another nice rainbow. Oh, he came off right there. Dang it. So, compared to yesterday, there is a lot less wind, and it is making this jig fishing much more enjoyable today. A lot easier, that's for sure. I can see my line and I can feel the bite. Oh, there was a hit. Oh yeah, Dwayne had a trip this morning, and I saw some pictures on the Ozark Trout Runner page. Looks like they boated a 21-inch brown on the French Pearl 110+1, which for those of you who don't know what the French Pearl is, it's just a white jerkbait that's been pearlized with some blue flake. But they did boat a 21-incher, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I just saw the pictures, so I don't know how many more fish they caught, but do know that they did catch a trophy brown this morning. Oh yeah, last night, a group of people that were staying with us, they were dragging the 762 model shad flavored jerkbait last night, just right before dark, and on that inside seam across from Trout Hollow Lodge. Now I think they were a little bit farther past Trout Hollow, but on that inside seam, they boated a 28-inch, 10-pound brown trout, dragging the little jerk bait on the drift rig. Almost forgot about that one. Beautiful fish. I need to move my boat a little bit here. Once again, the boat traffic is starting to pick up out here. People are getting out and enjoying the lake and this beautiful spring that we're having. So I've seen quite a few boats going by the dock again today. I think we got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats up here right now. Oh, I saw him hit that. I saw him flash his side. Once you get down to the point where the island is up here up top, the water, it starts to flatten out right here, so you don't have to let your jig drop as long. Oh, I pulled up too soon and knocked another one off my hook. I think I need to start sharpening my hooks. Or use the net. That's probably the most sensible option. All right, now we're coming to the end of the island, and there's a seam line that comes off of that eddy. Whenever I'm drifting by it, I like to toss right into that seam line there. If you toss too far into the eddy, your jig will get pulled back that way while your boat's drifting this way. If you can cast right on the edge of it, usually you can find some fish right there in that seam. So without the wind, this 1/8 ounce jig head is about the perfect weight for this water flow. I think Phil went out fishing this morning too, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him about that. So I told you, once the island starts up there, the water starts flattening out, and then all this from both sides is pretty much relatively the same exact depth until you get to rocking chair, as they call it, which is about 100 yards below me, and that's where it all drops off and gets about, well, in this kind of water flow, probably about 10 to 11 foot deep. Oh, there was one. Oh, he came back for it and I missed it. Ah! I can see him. I can see him going after it now. There he is. He was circling and chasing that thing forever. I think I finally got him to bite it on the 6th try there. Oh no, I hate when that happens. Come here, little guy. There he is. Okay. We just passed the big root wad, which is just kind of directly in front of rebar. Or right behind rebar. And here in a second, I'm going to break my jerkbait out and kind of show one of the spots that I like to work it up here. Most of the time we work them, you know, up against the bank and out, but coming up right as rocking chair starts, you can pull the boat out in the middle and work that jerkbait from, you know, casting towards the bank but not into the bank, back to the boat, and they'll usually bite it somewhere out in the middle, and it's kind of that perfect depth. It's that 9 to 10 foot range, and the bait dives 7 to 9 feet, so it gets right down in front of them. A couple more casts with the jig for a second. I really have noticed, though, not to say that it's a rule of thumb, but that these sculpin, tri-olive, olive and sculpin jigs, I do tend to do better with them whenever there's high sun. We've got a darker profile. But I mean, I've caught fish with them on cloudy days. I just think I tend to catch more fish whenever there's a little bit of sun. All right, I'm gonna pull the boat out into the middle here and throw that jerkbait a couple times. So one of the things I mark rocking chair by is over on the west side bank, so to my right, there's a big sycamore tree that's fell down in the water, and it's about right there where this line starts the rocking chair. So that's just something to note if you're curious about kind of where rocking chair starts. Okay, so this is the 110+1 mega bass model. I've got 6 pound tests, which I wouldn't throw one of these bigger jerk baits without the 6 pound at least. Probably even get away with 8. I've got that on one of the Lilleys Laser SG speed sticks, 6 foot model. We sell those up in the shop. And so with this jerk bait, it does a real big walk if you work it right. It requires leaving a little bit of slack in your line, and you kind of slap or jerk the slack in your line, and it causes the bait to walk underneath the water like this. If you've ever used a Sarah Spook topwater bait, it kind of walks just like that, except underneath the water. So that's what you're aiming to get it to do. And these fish like it when it really looks like it's getting away from them. So I do 4, 5, 6 pops, and I give it like a 1 or 2 second pause, and then pick right back up. Sometimes you can get away with 3 at a time. And the water depth relatively stays in about that, you know, roughly about that 10-foot range from here until you get close to trophy run. So you can stay in the middle casting towards the bank using a jerkbait that, you know, gets down to that 7, 8, 9 foot range and work it all the way down until you get down there. It does shallow up once you get to that island down there, though. You'll start hitting the bottom with your bait. And of course, you know, it's all kind of depending on where the fish are really lying. If they're up against the bank, you can go up to the bank and throw it all the way against the bank and work it back out. But once the water gets too shallow, you'll start getting it hung up in a lot of spots with one that dives this deep. I'll take a couple more casts with this and I'm going to switch back to the jig. I just wanted to give it a test run and see if this is what they were after today. Like I said yesterday, we caught a few through here around this time of the day, you know, the 5 o'clock area, but it was really more like 7 to 8 o'clock that it turned on. Well, like I was saying, you know, last night, once they really did start hitting this pretty consistently, we caught a consistent amount of rainbows that were just very healthy in that 18-inch range, 2 to 3 pounds. So it made that first couple hours of not catching much very worth it. Something else you can do, you know, is you can speed up your action and really just keep the jerkbait going the whole time. And sometimes you can really slow it down and give longer pauses, just to figure out which action that they're liking the best. Caught a few on a sculpin jig. On the all sculpin 1/8 ounce jig.
Ready your beer for 6 fish.
I didn't keep any of them.
Yeah.
Alright. Take a couple more casts with this jerkbait and then I'm gonna finish off this flat by the island before trophy run with the jig again. But really the key with the jerkbaits is if you're working one, you really want to get it down so that it's within the 2 or 3 feet of their vision. If they're laying on the bottom and they can see it going by them, they'll come up for it. Water's starting to get pretty shallow here, so I think I'm going to switch. Ooh, I about took a jerkbait in the hand. Okay. One other thing, when you're hooking a jerkbait to your rod, if you don't have a rod or a lure catch, don't ever put it on the eyelet itself. It'll start to scar it and hurt your line. So always hook it on the little arms coming down. Okay. So we just went past the boat ramp. It was just directly behind us. Oh, there's one. I'd say that the sculp and jig is definitely the way to go versus my jerkbait at the moment. So many of these fish are nice and healthy and thick after all those shad and bait fish that came through. All the scuds that got moved around. There's another one. Ow. Oh, guy's trying to get back at me there. But anyway, that's just one of my hints about a spot that I use whenever I'm jerkbait fishing up here by the dam. And of course we work both banks. Oh, I think I felt a bite. It's pretty shallow through here. I mean, with 4 units of water running, it's maybe 6.5 foot or so, especially out there where I'm casting more towards the island. So, pick up the speed of my jig action a little bit, keep it off the bottom. Alright, a couple more casts. We're gonna go right down here to the end of the island. Today Nathan and I sat down and went through, put some descriptions on the jerkbaits that we have for sale in the online store, named them, that's the way it's clear on what number the bait model is that I'm talking about, and hopefully just make things a little more clear for everybody. We had a lot of fun naming them too. All right, last cast. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day there, guys. We thank you for watching. Like and share us on Facebook. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it. And it'll update you on when we post a video every day. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll do it again tomorrow.